All right, welcome back to the channel. Today I think I'm going to talk about what it was like being introduced to the dojo and, becoming a bigger part of the community. Because if you know of me, it's very likely because of the dojo. I think more recently people are beginning to discover my personality, my content, my collaborations through the individual collaborations that I do, and then the dojo secondhand, which is kind of weird for me to think about in the long term. And I guess I'll touch on that later. But for the longest time, people know about me from the dojo. So it was about, I want to say, like mid September, early to mid September of 2015. I was still on Flipnote Studio using a fan created website based off of Flipnote Hatena called Pseudo Memo, ran by a guy named Austin Burke. It was a fantastic platform. Had some issues, but ultimately, like, it provided me a fantastic outlet to, express my creativity and show off some of my ideas. And I was by no means extremely successful on that platform. I had like one video that got featured, and it was a rap battle. You all, I think I probably talked about that in the rap battle video, but, I was, kind of one night bored. And, when Fono Hatena was still a thing, stick fights were a very prominent thing on there. All the stick fights that I had seen up to that point were from Flipnote Hatena. They were all Flipnotes, like Boss, 100%, all those kind of guys. Those are the only two that I remember the names of, but, I mean, they were some of them. So, but, they were always kind of cool to watch. But initially I was just like, man, these look lazy as hell to make. I'm going to not do it and only shit on it. And then eventually one night I was like, oh, I'm kind of nostalgic for that exact kind of content. I wonder if I can find it on YouTube. Someone's probably uploaded it to YouTube, right? For sure. Spoiler alert, they did. I don't know, man. But it took a bit of searching to find those, because what I found first instead was a bunch of like color animations. I'm like, what? Why are there more pixels than there would be in a Flipnote animation? This doesn't make any sense. Are you telling me stick figures have existed outside of Flipnote for a long time? Turns out, yes, that was very much so the case. And I had only discovered this in 2015. Yes, I know I'm very new to the community in the large scheme of things. But I still kind of shared the same sentiment of that. Oh, these are all lazy animators just using stick figures because they're too lazy to draw humans. And to some extent, that is true. But very quickly, I would learn that it is not as easy as it seems. It is surprisingly difficult to draw stick figures and make them look cool. But I started watching all the classics like Beer Ninja, Shock. But I had come across this one in specific that really got my attention. Is this little collab called The Imitator Collab by Shuriken 255. And I started watching it. I was like, oh, this is a pretty cool concept. The sound design is pretty weird, though. And like around halfway through the video, around Resh's part, I was like, wait a minute. I think I know why the sound design is weird. Are they hitting to the beat of the music? Wait a minute. So I had to start the video over, and I instantly fell in love with the concept. And I've told Shuriken before that like he is the reason that I have joined this community. And I mean that by absolutely no exaggeration. If you look at my stick fights on Pseudomemo, which you can still find to this day, my first stick figure animation, like legit stick figure fight animation, was his fucking imitator collab. And the second one was his soundline challenge. So I was instantly a huge fan of his content. And I heavily respected everything that he did. I began to use all of his sound lines, every single fucking one, for my own stick fight animations. I took it as like practice, and the stick figure community on Pseudomemo started to notice, like, hey, this guy's doing a lot. He's doing a lot of sync, and I gained some early friends from there. But ultimately, like, nothing really came from it. It wasn't until late November of that year, 2015, that I realized how Hyun's dojo worked. I decided to visit their website. I became borderline addicted to their content at this point. Like I was obsessed with them, and I found their website, and I was like, wait a minute. This is like an actual community, because I was under the impression at that point that you had to be invited to the dojo to get your videos uploaded here. What is going on here? There's no way. There's no way that this is how this works. Spoiler alert. Yes, that's how it works. I mean, like at the time, you would create an account, and so long as you followed all the rules and you uploaded your animations were subject to be uploaded to the website, of course, with your permission. But this was an amazing discovery to me. So I made an account. I started sharing my animations there. I still stayed on Footnote for a while, but eventually I moved fully into Flash 8, which I used for quite a while. Now I'm moving more into Adobe Animate. I still use Flash 8 occasionally, but I primarily use Animate at this point. But I started making Flash animations. I got very addicted to it. I found this guy called Hydrios, who was another synced guy. He did a few synced things. People thought that he would be the second Shuriken. Spoiler alert, they were wrong. That would be me, and Hydrios would fucking disappear from the community. I even tried to participate in one of Hydrios' collaborations, the Arena Leader, and I got denied. Which, is fine. I was a shitty animator at the time. I had been animating for the most part at 12 frames per second up until this very moment. So, it was understandable that he wanted to have some consistent sense of quality, right? I think that's respectable. That's fine, of course. Eventually, I decide to host my first Flash collaboration. I host it on the Dojo forums. I start figuring that whole thing out, which eventually I would end up mastering that fucking craft. This is a collab called Collision. It was my first Flash collaboration. I had learned a lot through that experience. And it got featured on the front page of the Dojo, which was, amazing to me. But I think the funniest part of it is that I think I got like 5 awards for that one feature, and I let them know, and they were just like, huh, interesting. Anyway, and then they proceeded to not fix it. So I think still to this day, if you look at my rewards on the Dojo, you'll see 5 rewards for the Collision collab being featured, which I still find really funny. So yeah, that got featured, and then I decided to start my next community collaboration called Kryptonite, and this would be the first collaboration of mine that would get featured on the Dojo YouTube channel. And I remember uploading it, and then the day after, I actually got a message from Shuriken. Or not, I didn't get a message from him, but he had joined my Discord server called the Synced Discord, which, now that I think about it, that's been up for a while at this point. God damn. But yeah, he joined the server, and at this point I had a mindset of, I don't want to talk to any of my idols or inspirations because I'm just going to embarrass myself. That was my only reason for wanting to completely isolate myself from the community. I had no other fucking reason. So now I was met head on with the person who had essentially changed the kind of content that I made permanently. And, seeing him there, just being like, oh, I saw Kryptonite. I thought it was really good. Where's the Tenai? I kind of want to talk to him. I'm like, oh, God. I was super fucking nervous. I ended up having a call with him, I think, later that night. Yeah, super fucking embarrassing. I hated it. I mean, now me and Shuri are good friends, of course, but like at the time, I was goddamn terrified to see him there. Of course, I was like, oh wow, this is so cool. But primarily, I was like, get the fuck out of here. Yeah. I don't know. That was a weird time. But I kept making collaborations. They kept getting featured. But I remember very specifically when Kryptonite got featured, or when I got the message, I almost got like no sleep that night because I was like, oh my God, they're going to upload it today. But, they didn't tell me that they were going to upload it whenever they got the chance. So they weren't going to upload it immediately, but I was under the impression like, oh my God, it's going to upload any second now. So I stayed up all night watching YouTube videos and just like checking the notifications to see if they uploaded my video, and they didn't. But like I was shaking that whole night. I was like, oh my goodness. It's so silly. But then I, after that, I got a lot of hate because at this point in time, Shuriken was the only person to host synced collaborations on the dojo, and his fan base, like his own sub fan base and the community, got very defensive for him. And Shuriken was obviously very supportive of Kryptonite being a thing and someone else doing synced collaborations aside from him. But his audience, they saw it as Shuriken, his he was being threatened in some way, I think is what people kind of assumed. I I don't know, man. People were weird. At that time, it seemed people were either hating me or loving me, but that could also just be my biased perspective. I think I already kind of talked about it in Meme Dream, but I joined in a very toxic period in the community, and I just happened to be the center of attention because I was getting a lot of attention. I was the pivot point of the dojo shifting their expectations and quality. And I think I have like a little theory as to why Kryptonite was uploaded. A lot of people tell me that it was a good video, but I look at that video and I can't see a single fucking reason why anyone would watch that again. The VCam is vomit inducing. It is terrible. It's a bad collaboration, and I'm fully comfortable saying that. I think it's a terrible collaboration, but again, like, so long as it inspires someone, it's fine by me. But I have a theory as to how it got uploaded to the dojo and how quickly it got uploaded to the dojo. I mean, at least, I meant like how quickly I got the offer for it to be uploaded to the dojo channel. I think Shuriken saw it within the first 12 hours of it being released and was like, oh my God, someone else can help me with the syncing. Holy shit. And not help him as in like help him with his projects, but you have to remember Shuriken's mindset at this time was that he hated animating. He hated doing what he did. He got himself into a hobby that he despised doing, and he didn't realize it for a long time. And I think for a while he was trying to find other people to appeal to this very specific fan base that he had grown to himself. And clearly they became very attached to him and his content. He was very unique in the community for doing the things that he did, including myself. I loved his stuff, but I wanted to do what he did. I didn't want to just wait for him to release stuff that he was doing. I wanted to participate. I wanted to participate in his stuff eventually. So it's just, that was the goal, was to get invited to one of his collaborations. And my theory is that he told Hyun to upload it, or told the mod to, I think he like really tried to push people uploading it to the dojo. However that system worked at the time. I can get into it, but I don't think anyone gives a shit. But like, Shuriken was clearly very supportive, like much more active on the collaboration's comments than I had expected. And looking back on it, I think it was because he was trying to shift the quote-unquote responsibility of these synced collaborations off to somebody else who maybe enjoyed it more than he did. Man. It's weird to think about. It's my theory. I can't confirm it. I haven't talked to Shuriken about it. He's dealing with the whole Ukraine crisis. I don't want to cause him any more stress. I don't want to bother him. So, but eventually I just kept making collaborations. Shuriken had offered to participate in my next collaboration to further support it, which was Aerial Master, which I still think to this day has some of my best sound work ever. I think very strongly about it. Some of my best sound work is in there. Like that one I can go back to, and I can genuinely enjoy watching. I could go into specifics of all of my collaborations, but I'll save further details like that for future videos if I give enough of a shit to talk about them. But generally I kept releasing collaborations. I started doing, I started showing my face in the community. I started joining voice chats in the Dojo Discord. The whole Meme Dream thing happened. That was fun, right? At this point, I've forgotten most of the finer details that happened among when I was really growing my own sub audience from the community. But I know that I was becoming, pretty popular, more popular than I think I was actually comfortable with at the time. And I guess like doing all this in collaborations and Shuriken stopping on that. People, expected the same quality from him to me, and meeting up to those expectations was almost goddamn impossible. It took until the 360 collaboration for me to really realize what I was doing, who I should care about when creating these collaborations, et cetera, et cetera. And I'd love to have another video focused on just the 360 collab, because like that's a story on its own. People think that that's the collaboration that, put me into the Dojo Hall of Fame, to put it in their words. There's a lot of comments that say that on that specific video. Like that was the video that they realized, okay, he's here to stay, and he's improving consistently. We welcome him into the community. And that was a good break. It was a good relief, because up until that point, I felt like I was still hated by the community, and I was still trying to redeem myself. I don't know why, but I just felt like I had such a bad reputation because of the quality of my videos that were getting featured on the dojo. Eventually, I ended up getting partnered on the dojo, which it doesn't mean a whole lot. It mostly means that we get a purple name. In all honesty, that's mostly what it means. Occasionally, you can get paid for the content that is uploaded to the Dojo channel, but more often than not, all that you get is just credited for your animations. And at a certain point, that's not enough. When you're starting out as an animator, like that is a fantastic outlet to get your name out there to a large community. But at a certain point, I feel like more recently, I don't feel as pressured to get all my videos uploaded to the dojo. Like all the big stuff, of course, I want it featured because I want, my goal is to get as many people to see it as possible. And the only way to do that is to get it featured on the dojo channel until like I, either equal their views or surpass them in views and subscribers, which again, that's probably going to take a while. And, I'm fine with that. Like I don't hate them for uploading my content and not paying me for it. I think that's something that a lot of people attach to when they hear about that. But again, they get the permission from the animators at the end of the day to upload that content. So I think it's fine. It does get a little tricky, especially sometimes when people assume that even though you made the animation and you've uploaded it to your own channel, because you have the smaller channel, occasionally people will think that you stole that video from Hyun's dojo. There's a lot of people who assume that Hyun makes all of the videos on the channel, which obviously is not the case. It is a community, and that is the reason I believe that he changed the name of the dojo channel to, it used to be the Hyun's Dojo, and then it changed into Hyun's Dojo Community. So, there's probably still some people who completely disregard the implications of the naming of the channel, and still think that Hyun runs everything and makes everything. If you think that, sorry to break it to you, that's not quite how it works. But I don't know. It's fun. It's fun working with the dojo, working with Hyun. I don't regret it. I love it. The community is fucking fantastic. Eventually I separated from doing synced collaborations to now doing kind of synced collaborations. They're just heavily focused on music, but yeah, I don't know. It's been a fun journey so far, and I have no intentions to leave the community, and I only want to help grow the community, because I know that this stick figure community is going to continue to grow for many years to come. I have a very sneaking suspicion that very soon here, in the next few years, the stick figure community is going to pop off. And, whether that be because of something like Apocalypse Day comes up again, or it be a Gilded Guy animation, or maybe even my movie, I have a feeling that we're going to see a large amount of interest in coming into the community. I would say similar to that of the Madness community or the Friday Night Funkin' community. And, whether people like that or not, I don't think that matters. I think realistically it's going to happen. We have all of the pieces together in this community. Like I got hooked on it when I just searched stick fights. So how long is it going to take until, someone big shows up, advertises the community, or until YouTube just starts recommending everything stick figure related to everybody? And you could argue that Alan Becker is kind of doing that, but I would argue that not really. He's, his channel is very focused on his own content, which again is totally fine. I work with him. Like I support it, obviously. There is a place for it. But, people aren't looking to Alan Becker to really promote the community, because there's a lot more to this community than stick figures interacting with an animator on a desktop. So I think, all of the lore-based stuff people will find interesting, whether that be from a game theory video or maybe Rubber Ross continues to advertise the stick figure community outside of the one Gartic phone video that he did with me and a few other guys from the dojo. I feel like there's just a lot of hints recently pointing to the dojo possibly becoming very successful, and then by proxy, the stick figure community. I think it's perfectly reasonable to expect that this community is going to fucking blow up very soon. And I would bet on that. I'm not a betting man, but I would bet on that. Yeah. But I think I'm gonna end this video here. I went on a bit of a rant there, but thank you all for watching. Make sure you unsubscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.